Okay, now this is this I it doesn't really matter, but I think they're from Leonardo or not Rubens, the Italian Renaissance. What do you think is the most difficult here to draw? Let's say the young face or the old face. Normally, old faces are easier to draw. You have more wrinkles to.
Well, there's less to
can-
paint. I mean, draw, because half his
He's got a beard.
half his pictures in.
Oh,
shadow.
Oh, yeah,
I
also
like
it's-
the
it's
young
less
one,
to
though,
draw.
better, don't you? I like that.
Yes.
Which one? The young,
A
younger,
young
I
younger.
prefer the young one, but
Okay, younger one.
I
Got
go
spoiled
with it,
lips
depends
though,
what
isn't
you.
he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Spot lips.
Spot
he looks,
lips.
yeah.
Spotless. Okay, now, do you remember the wrapping or the envelope technique that we've spoken about? It's basically, look, get the face, wrap it like this, look. So it's like a square, just look at the general form of it, like this. Maybe I'll bring it forward. Bring it forward because I have space for the neck. That's it, there, neck there. And so really check the difference or the where the shadows are, which is, look, it's here, eye, cheekbone, nose, and see how I'm keeping the charcoal like this? It's a very short charcoal, but I'm keeping it sideways because it really builds up the form like this. Look, his lip, chin, nose. It's very generic now. I'm not being very careful with well, I'm checking, but I'm not being extremely careful of how far or the distance between the nose and the neck and cheekbone, where they are on the right place or not. But and more than anything else, is just to do that, to frame this, to frame that, frame the hair. You got his curls here, hair moving that way, curls moving that way. His fringe of hair down here, and that dark, look, that dark comes right down here. So I'm basically creating a kind of there's another way of saying it in painting. They call the Japanese call it notan. Probably you have come across it. We'll do a lesson on notan. Notan is basically shadows and light. So look, close your eyes and you'll see that's all in shadow. See that? Look, all this area. And then that's shadow, and that's obviously a bit of shadow, and then shadow here. So what I'm actually doing, I'm closing my eyes, and I'm seeing that all this area here, it's all shadow. The eyes, the eyebrow, the nose, which extends down, the lower part of the nose, it's all in shadow. His lips are all, that's basically, it's shadow and contrast. Yeah, that's another way of seeing it. So dark and light, this, look, upper lip, lower lip, chin here, and the chin goes, it's quite rounded here, you can see, look, that's, now notan is more, you can use that word more in, probably on landscape. But if that was a huge portrait, I would see that. Say that you've seen a portrait like, sometimes you've seen monumental drawings, and they let's say they build up or they will cut the edge, which you can only see it from a certain point. Let's say from a tower or at a distance you can see. So if that was a landscape, because I'm confusing you now, if that was a landscape, I would do that. Dark and shadow. Look. You see what I mean? Here, look. Although it's a classical drawing, but I'm completely ignoring it. I'm completely ignoring the precision of the hair and everything else. I'm going back to 15th century of doing that kind of type of drawing, but in a very different or a modern inverted commas approach. Just working and explaining it with today's tools. Look, you can even leave it like that. It's like it's a sketch. And again, shadow. And he looks to be blonde, so you got his hair, top of the hair. His when you open the hair like this. what's it?
Parting.
Parting, yeah, the parting here on his hair. So I'm actually making a modern man out of a 15th century young man. So yeah, that's basically what that. And then look, get the darks here, get the cheekbone. I'm using, as I said, I'm using very, very modern techniques. I cannot say modern technique because I don't think that they're stupid. They didn't know it. Of course they knew, but if you see here, the technique of the drawing is actually pencil. You can see the lines, and you can see the way he approached it. And that was very much in fashion then, or very much the way that you could draw then. It's basically identifying different material, different texture of flesh and hair. And I'm not treating it like this, so I'm treating it totally different. I'm treating it with a very, very bright. First of all, that is pencil, I'm working with charcoal. And secondly, I'm not being too fussy about it. So look, I'm going being very almost abstract and sketchy, whilst it is not a sketchy painting, it's a drawing, it's a beautiful rendered drawing. I'm rendering very, very, very little. An eyebrow here, an eye, you got the nose, nostril. And what I'm actually seeing is that I'm working on this, look, philtrum, upper lip, lower lip, it's way, the lower lip is way more inside the drawing, it's more there, so it's pushed there. You got the chin here, chin, neck. Huh? You see what I mean? And now getting out with your fingers and doing those little, look, so I'm using the putty rubber, because putty rubber takes a lot of charcoal out, and I'm being very fussy here with that. I'm just using the fingers instead of using the putty rubber to make the lid as less light as possible. Later I can do it with putty rubber, I can use the putty rubber. But look, see, so it's creating, it's a bit cartoonish, but I've got the movement, and I'm after the likeness now, which I'm still far away from the likeness. Yeah, I can see that because yeah, the chin goes forward there. So yes, I need to bring that a bit more forward here. And the neck, bring the neck lower here as well. And the neck, you can see that shadow here, that must be the cast shadow of the hair. That line here, which cannot be anything else, doesn't make any sense why the shadow is there. And you got the Adam's apple here, and then the hair moves that way, create that blondness or light hair that is called, and light here. Look, and look at the fringe of the hair. Comes like this. Look, check that movement. It's there. Moves that way. Comes forward. That's it. So these are the things that you need to also see. I'm still working or differentiating the material or the texture of hair, not material. Texture, that's the word. Texture of hair. Texture of hair and texture of flesh tone. These are the things that they were masters, the Renaissance artists. And look, hair here now. And that will need a lot more rendering and a lot more attention. And the earlobe. Earlobe is a horizontal line, goes above the nostril. Yes, above. So horizontal, there, the earlobe is here. There. And you got the shadow or cast shadow over the ear. And then you have the texture, yes, the rendering of the hair. Very few lines. Don't confuse yourself with many lines, because you don't want to be look like spaghetti lines. Yes. Here, look at that.
Do you think his jawbone?
His jawbone is, yes, it's forward. It's more, yes, it's, yeah, I think I've gone too close with the ear, so there's more jawbone there. Yes, it's more, that distance here, it's longer, yes, so I can bring the jawbone or cheekbone. Jawbone,
No,
cheekbone?
the jaw. If you look at.
Oh, the jaw, oh, down here, sorry.
This
You said
bit,
jaw, yes,
Yeah.
the jawbone, yes, it's there. Yeah, you're right. Yes, sorry. Here. There.
Hmm.
There. And the cheekbone also as well is right up here. It's closer to the nose, that I've done it here. And a very soft look. You look quite thin, quite not too chubby, not too. And the tip of the nose, sorry, tip of the upper lip forward here, and the lower lip there, and possibly make the jaw, the chin a bit forward there, chin there, and Adam's apple here, and then you have, there's got his hand here, just notice it. All right, wow. Well, we can put a little bit of hand, why not? The hand, look, just look at the shape of it. You see, it's basically a shape like this, and in this most simplest form, it's like that. Now, within that form, you have the fingers coming in. Well, I think I've done it quite big, actually, quite large hand for his. That's his knuckle bone. The finger here, and dark, they're dark because I've gone them quite light, darker. Okay. It's a bit like holding his, oh, he's got both hands. Oh, okay, I'll do one only. So I was after the portrait maybe, but yeah, one because it will be, just there's no space anyway here. So now with the putty, I think the nose is quite large on me, so keep an eye on the nose. It looks quite, it's not as large as it looks. Maybe you can push it forward, but not, the nostril obviously, not the nose, not the nostril, and the light here, look. And what I would need now, I would need a pencil to render it, but I don't think I'll have. I'll do it now. I can do it slowly when you start. You can bring it to that point, and I can start doing the rendering now with a pencil. And the eyebrow, which is looking. I can hear you doing. Maybe we don't like him as much as we liked the previous week's drawing. So the darks here, dark there, eyebrow. Yeah, he doesn't look like a Renaissance guy on me, but you know, doesn't have to be a perfect copy. And a little bit more forward the chin. And soften those lines. Now make a difference between the lines of the flesh tone, which are not sharp. Keep an eye on this because I've gone too sharp here. And what I see now is the whole head is wider, much wider than what I've done. So yes, I can go back there, and that's an easy fix. You can always come back here and enlarge his skull. And keep an eye on the hair, like the hair comes and look, like it appears to be here, like this, look, there. And I will use charcoal, pencil charcoal now, because I'm on the hair themselves here. Okay, I think it's a very interesting face, very, isn't it? Yes. Yes, thank you.
Interesting place.
Beautiful. Okay, let's stop it there. Hello everyone, let's carry on with our portrait here, which I did work a little bit, but I could not record it because I have builders here which are doing loads of noise. But I did progress a little bit, but it was based on what you saw at the beginning, everything. So I've just added a lot more darks here. By using charcoal dust, and it's all darkened a lot more. Now what I'm doing is with a putty rubber, getting it sharp like this, or that sort. Well, kind of like a sharp edge, sharp knife edge, like that, and then coming with, oops, I've just dropped it, with the spread of the charcoal. Take this side of that and then move it sideways here. Worked on it like this. Softly introduce some lines here, or break those darks a little bit more, just to basically to feel a bit more like hair. That is a little bit too dark. I just added two. That was with brush. I've used a lot of this brush, charcoal dust. There, use it that way, turn it. So based on our previous drawing, again, I've just added a lot more highlights of brush and charcoal dust everywhere basically. And what I'm doing now is to possibly bring back the hair here, because I think the hair has gone too far up here, and I need to bring it down here just to make sure that I've not to go off the page, and keep this the brush sideways here, and then start working it, getting those highlights of light with the putty rubber. Working sideways here, sideways the brush. And here we are. We said it's kind of it feels like a blonde child, young man, whatever that is. And there you are. Just moving them about, highlighting the hair again, or everywhere, wherever you feel fit, or where you basically observe where the highlights are. By doing this, I'm bringing the volume of the hair coming towards us. Okay. Brightening this area. Well, I could leave it in a bit of a dark shadow there. Dark shadow here. Trimming the lips, bringing the lips a little bit further up. There, I would say there is the best part to, well, it's not best, but it actually feels they're more tucked in. Work and thread with your fingers. And I'm going to use also a little bit of this charcoal. This is compressed charcoal with mechanical pencil. Mechanical pencil and compressed charcoal. So you just press it like that from the back, and you put the charcoal in and out. You pull it in and out. So there. With some dark highlights here. And bringing back the edge of his lip right here. Edge of his lip here. And I can see some highlight, and that is important because it's the muscle under the lip. I cannot leave it without bringing that back and highlighting that right here, that little muscle. Now I know it's almost not there, but it is important to bring it up. Let me turn on the light here. So bring that muscle back. Just a touch, just a touch. I think I need to also darken the edge of his, the edge of the jaw here. Darken the structure of the jaw structure. That shadow, which is of his fringe of hair here, I think needs to go a little bit further to the left. Yes, it could go, yeah, even more so. And emphasize with the side of the compressed charcoal a little bit more here on the hair fringes, hair fringes here, there, and here as well. And darken all this shadowy area, all that area here. And that creates volume, brings the hair more voluminous, brings it towards us. And where the charcoal dust doesn't work, obviously the willow charcoal will probably do. So I'm combining willow charcoal with compressed charcoal. Shadow. I just think I wrote it too low. There. And hairline. Hairline here. I think I've gone too far up with the nose. I can trim it down a little bit more. Trim the nose back towards the left. I think it's gone a little bit too far out. There. And bring that movement of his lips. That's bending of his lips here, the movement there, and trim it back and forth until you find the correct movement of the lips and the lightness, obviously. A little bit less dark that, because it looks a little bit like moustache. and it doesn't work like a shadow, it just works a bit like a patch of dark color there. So check it on your drawing if you're going too dark with your moustache there. Well, basically the lips are kind of a form which goes that way. We have upper lip. So there's always that bending here. Now I'm doing that, I'll start doing these little sketches of particular parts of the head, or head, mouth, features like mouth, head, mouth, lips, ears, fingers. So I'll do that on the page, so to see how you can deal with. That's the upper lip. That's the edge of the edge of his mouth, and you have the lower lip. So all in the shadow, and that's his chin. There. So this is how to identify the movement of the lip. It's basically upper lip, the outline of the lower lip, chin. Chin goes kind of like an S curve, starts straight here and moves back there, and you go to there. And shadow. There you have it. And you have that. A dark shape or dark shadow here. Shape it like this, shape it like that. There. And with your, obviously with your pencil or charcoal, over your nose. With your putty rubber, this is always a method that I always use. Well, not always, but most of the time, is to lift up your volume. And what I was saying earlier on here is that little muscle here which comes across there. Now that little muscle here which is there. And that shapes or moves the chin, or moves the lower lip. Now that is anatomy, which I'm not the best student of anatomy. I've done it at school, but you do tend to forget the names of the muscles. But the best remedy for that is to actually observe. Observe what they're doing, or observe the movement of the lip just by looking closely. The turn of the shape. I'm softening it as I see it here, softening there. And the mouth there. And these lines, keep the lines softer because they create a kind of a, so if I keep the lines a little bit hazy, it just blends with the page. It becomes part of the work that I'm working, of the paper and the ambience. It creates a nice ambience. It's nice. It creates kind of a belonging to the paper. And it's not like you stuck up, or you've cut it and you stuck it up on paper. That doesn't happen when you create that softer edges. That's why I always keep banging on about softer edges. And the upper lip there. That little highlight on the upper lip. Now, to study the Renaissance artists, I'm not 100% sure that it must be Michelangelo, but either Michelangelo, Leonardo, or any of the, it's not Caravaggio, definitely Caravaggio, I just need to check it out. but it doesn't matter. It's basically just working and observing, and that's what I want us to work here and do here. It's observation skills. See what the lip is doing, where it turns up and down, where it goes, where the line becomes darker, which is here, there, and then soften it with your. If it goes out of control, you soften it with your fingers. So going back to my drawing here again, and lift up the top of the upper lip. There. And clear that up, keep it clean, keep it bright, keep it like that. Well, there we are. I think it's good enough, and I would say to basically spray it. Highlight a few lines here. Softer there. And that dark shape here, dark line here. There. Again, I just run the risk of working on individual hair here. So always see the strand of hair. Try and see the form and not individual hair, because obviously we'll have to stay for hours to work on each and every individual, and that's not the goal. That's not realism, where it's a realistic drawing, but it's not photographic realism. Darker, that's the cast shadow, and darker cast shadow here. And think that the ear could go even further back. There. Yes, that's slightly better. Move the ear back and keep that dark area here. And try and work on those individual hairlines. One or two, not many, one or two individual hairlines. That will be enough to identify what's going on. But too bright, that's too bright. That highlight here on the eye is way too bright, so I need to soften it and bring it back under the influence of the shadow, of the big shadow, and also this is too bright. Lower eyelid. The light on the lower eyelid was just too bright. Soften that. The rubber just goes over it quickly like that, without stain or without stain at one particular line, or so just rub the rubber quickly. And I think I could go easily a little bit darker here. Right there. There. We bring that hair a little bit more inwards. Trying to replicate here and see where that line brings, which is there, and then this one line here. Again, trying to observe what I'm seeing and not doing. You can go off and do your own thing, but make sure that it's not overloaded with your own interpretation. It's just basically such a well-known drawing that you don't want to deviate a lot from what you see. And it's a perfect example of working with lines, yes? Strands, and sometimes use those lines there. Strands of hair, and then sometimes use the lines. And the hand itself, which is basically some knuckle bones here, just done it even more, well, a bigger hand here, just increase the hand in size. It's a reflection of the bone structure, and then you have the hand here, and then you have another hand there, which it's hard to see, but it's there, and that's the thumb. And you have here darker thumb, thumb again, and then you have the index finger there, which I don't want to go and do a lot of detail there because it's not the purpose of that. It's just that gets under general shadow there. Just keep it there. Maybe some charcoal will be quicker to do here to create that dark thumb area here. And then you have the muscle of the thumb, which supports the thumb and moves the thumb up and down, which is this muscle. Bone structure, bring it back a little bit more. Some bone structure there. Knuckle bone, obviously, and then the other knuckle bone here. And the other one here, which I think is not necessarily visibly easily to identify, but it's there. Identifiable, but it's there. All right. Okay, I think I need to soften that blow that I've done here with the hair, with the charcoal. It's very, very dark. It comes across as very, very dark. I could use stump, but I think with just brush will be what we say, brush it aside. Let's brush it aside with a brush. It's a nice expression there, brush it aside. Not because it's just becoming too intense and dark there. So just soften that and leave it. Don't want to take it off, just want to blend it. Okay, I think that's good enough. A closer shot.